thank you for tuning into my lesson. I originally developed this lesson while I was student teaching recently, and I'm excited to bring it online for you. It originally had three parts where on Monday we looked at these Whitman materials, on Wednesday we looked at these Dickinson materials, and then on Friday we had a peer teaching activity. So let's dive in. First up, we've got Walt Whitman and his piece, A Vigil Strange I Kept on the Field One Night. It was published originally in his book Drum Taps, which you can see the cover of there, top right. I want you to open the poem up if you don't have it open already and try to build some understanding around these key words. Also, try to notice if there are any words that particularly interest or confuse you. As you try to formulate some initial thoughts on the meaning of the poem, try to identify literary elements or traditional literary techniques being broken or utilized. Also, think about the form of the poem. Is it written in sonnet form? Is it a haiku? Is it written in free verse? And also, think about particular lines or words that are most important to your understanding, most interesting, or most confusing to you. As you let those questions simmer in your head, I'll throw some biographical and contextual information at you. Whitman was born in the spring of 1819 and died in the spring of 1892, a rather long lifespan for his time. This poem was originally published in the book Drum Taps, which was published in 1865. He was known as a poet, essayist, and journalist, and is often referred to as the father of free verse. If you want an example of his influence, if you've ever heard the phrase, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," that was Whitman. Whitman published 9 times during his career, and I've got Leaves of Grass, Drum Taps, Democratic Vistas, Memoranda During the War, and Specimen Days in bold because those are the pieces that earned him some of the renown that he enjoyed later in life. Now, I've got his birth and death dates again as they relate to the Civil War in a second. First, I wanted to mention, though, that he was a humanist and he was a part of the transition between transcendentalism and realism. All three of those movements are important to your understanding of English literature at this time, so it's worth a Google into those terms. Whitman is among the most influential poets in the American canon, so it's worth understanding that he aligned himself with the humanists. And his poetry often focused on both loss and healing. So that's where we get into the Civil War stuff. At the end of the 1700s, the United States gained its independence and then flourished for about 3/4 of a century, which was until the Civil War, which lasted from 1861 to 1865. So keep in mind, at the time this poem was published, the average person's life expectancy was about 30 to 40 years. And also keep in mind that at the time this poem was published, Whitman was 46. So to end, I've got some questions on basic and deeper understanding. So for the basic narrative understanding of this piece, consider things like who is the speaker? Who is the young man in his poem? And try to rewrite the poem, either as a haiku or maybe just in 5 words, even. And lastly, when you want to start to have a discussion or a deeper understanding around this piece, consider things like what does a visual normally look like nowadays? What would it have looked like in the speaker's time? And what about this particular vigil would deem it strange, as it's called in the title? Or some of these other questions that I've got listed here.